Hey guys, welcome back to Journey of Crafting. We are going to continue our mini album series. This is going to ultimately be a 4.5 by 7.5 mini album. We are doing the portrait size, and so far we have made our base pages and we have cut out our decorative paper. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add additional elements to our base page. What I mean by that is flips, belly bands, pockets, such like that. First thing that I'm going to show you is my notebook here. So right here I have, and I suggest this for you guys, especially if you want to make further albums. So it'll be a lot easier for you to go back and say, okay, this is my portrait, you know, blah, blah, blah. And what I did here is I went over this portion here in the last video. I just wrote down the main base page, 4x6, the main base page. The main page base with flaps is 4.25 by 7.25. The main page mat is 4x6. I'm sorry. The main page base without flaps is 4.25 by 6.25. So basically I used these dimensions right here to jot down some notes before I started recording, and I decided how many of each thing that I wanted to do to a point. I always change my mind, but I did get some dimensions, so we can go ahead and go over that. The first thing that I want to show you guys is the full size flap, and I did make a couple already, and I will make more. So the full size flap is this here, and this will go inside our main base page here. Okay, so it'll go inside just like so. Now it will go a lot easier because I haven't trimmed it out or anything, so it's a little difficult at the moment, but that's how it will sit. I'm just going to sit it like this for now. It's being temperamental. So it will sit just like this, okay, and then it'll flip out. So, and also too, if you have any of your main bases that you needed to trim down, keep that in mind, because the pockets or flips or flaps or whatever, they might need to be trimmed as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a sheet of my cardstock that I'm using for my pages. And so far I haven't done anything with the decorative paper short of cutting it down to size. Well, we want to completely construct our pages for the most part before we add any of our decoration, up to and including the decorative paper. So the first thing is the full flap. It is going to be 4 3/4 by 6.5. So I'm going to cut the 6.5 off of the 8.5 by 11. Or I'm sorry, 6 1/4, not 6.5. I'm going to cut the 6 1/4 off the 8.5 by 11. What that's going to do is it's going to give me space to cut 2 of these flip outs. So we have our page here, our flap here. This, I'm going to go ahead and score on my cutting mat because there's only one score mark that we need to make. And that is off to either side. It doesn't matter, but as long as it is this along this long side, one of these long sides. It honestly doesn't matter which one, just pick one and score in 1/2 inch. Okay, so this is the fold out, and remember, I'm going to do it on one that I haven't cut yet, so I don't have to cut the tape. It's much easier for me to just rip the tape, and if you lay your tape down and then trim the edges, it's acceptable because you don't have tape, you know, hanging off the edge. It's a very clean cut. Hello. So now that we have this taped up on both sides, you do want to tape it on both sides here, okay? Now we're going to cut the edges. Just like we have in previous videos, we're going to take it straight to that score line. And same thing, if you want to start at the score line and go down, that's fine too. Just make an angle, and there you go. So, put that in my trash. Now what we're going to do is we're going to burnish down our tape. We're just going to make sure that it adheres to this paper really well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this off and we're going to slide this in. And we want to make sure that this is very even. And right now it's not, it got caught. And we do not want to go past the score mark. So the edge of this paper here should not go past the score mark on this paper here. We want to put it just before it, like a hairline before it. And depending on how much embellishments and such that you want on your page, you could, you know, make it an even larger gap if you'd like. Okay, so that is that. We're going to crease this down, and then we're going to expose the second piece of tape, which is right there. It is a lot easier to do this when you're doing it one side at a time. You can by all means do both at the same time. But with this particular tape, it's a little stubborn, and once you stick it down, it is down for good. Okay, so now we have our first page with a flap. Okay, now this side is completely closed now. Okay, if you've already trimmed your corners here, I would suggest you cut the tape just so you don't get extra tape off the side. And if you do, you don't feel like cutting your tape, which is completely fine. Just once you expose the actual tape, you take the backing off, just fold it up underneath. And there I go, putting it on the second side again. I think I'm just accustomed to doing that. So what you're going to do is you're going to now, if you wanted to, you could leave this completely open and leave that as a pocket, because remember, this side is going to be sealed into your hinge. So you could leave this completely open and you could make a pocket with it and just ignore the fact that I have tape right there. I can fix that. I can make something else. Actually, let me show you how to fix that. I want to make a full size. I'm going to cut this a little bit though. This is what I'm going to do. So I decided to cut this inch. Okay. Again, save your scraps. Now, we don't need to put glue on this because there's glue on the back side of our envelope here. Okay. But we do need to still cut our corners a little bit so we can put it in our pocket. So what we're going to do is very carefully, we are going to lift this up, okay? Now we don't want this to touch this back here, but we do want to, this is our fold, we do want to put this fold directly on top of that fold. And again, we do not want to go past that score mark. Now, we do not have exposed tape back here. We still have a pocket, and now we just have a double flap. We kind of have like a little booklet. And if you want, you could put it on this side, and this way, this is open, and this is attached to your binding, and there you go. That's actually really cute. I think I'm going to do that. So we have one page almost done. So I went over the full flap. Now I'm going to show you how to make a top and or bottom flap. So I need one of those, and this is going to be a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of paper. what we're going to do is we are going to score all of these pieces that we just cut along the top. Okay, so when I say top, I always mean the shorter dimension, at least in this particular album, because we're making the album tall, not long. So we're going to cut, we're not going to cut, we already cut. We are going to score every piece of paper that we just cut at 1/4 of an inch along the short side. So we lay it down and the long side is parallel to us and the short side is perpendicular to us. So we want to score this at 5. Okay, just like that. And we're going to keep doing that through all of these, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, so I have all of these scored. Now what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to fold these, but I'm only going to do a couple at a time because I don't know exactly how I want everything laid out. And I hope that makes sense. Because again, I'm not really sure how many times I have said this in all of my videos. I always change my mind. So you can trim the corners here if you want to. Right now, all I'm going to do is I am going to look at the layout here. Now, you have this flip. You can either flip it this way or you can flip it this way. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm going to do is something a little bit different because I don't know, I'm still thinking about it in my head as I'm talking about this. Now you have this area right here that needs to be matted. This is not going to work. It might have worked had I not chomped off the rest of it, but I chomped too much off. Actually, I wonder. So we have created flaps going both from the top and the side. Now I want to show you guys a flap going from the bottom. Let's see here. I think I'm running out of pages. Oh, there's one. Okay, so yeah. Now this one is going to have a page on the bottom like this. It's going to flip open like this. Well, flip open like this. that is it for that one. Now I wanted to show you guys one more thing, and that would be a belly band. So we're going to go into our scraps right now. Now, remember your measurements. So you don't have to keep going back and measuring everything. Just remember your measurements. So your mat is 4 by 6 and your base is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So whenever we do any kind of addition on flaps, remember we have to add a 1/2 inch. So if it's 4 1/4, we want to make it 4 3/4 to make a flap to go across. So that's one. So we're going to go 7 1/4 with this one. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the lengthwise. I'm going to do one more here. So you just score it 1/2 inch on both sides. All of these are going to have that 1/2 inch on the either side of the long strip. What we're going to do is make a belly band, and we are going to put one here. Hello. Hello. We're going to put one here. And okay. Doesn't seem like it was cut right. And it very well could have not been cut right. Oh, you know what it is? It's because I have the flaps on here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to put our score tape on our flaps. Again, make sure that you put them on the same side, on both sides. So if you put it here, put it on this side. Don't mix match them, at least not for this particular portion. It is not necessary to cut the ends off of this if you don't want to, because every part of this is going to be covered. So we're going to take off both pieces, and the reason that I'm taking off both pieces is because I have 2 flaps here on the other side, so it added just a slight amount of height to this page. So I want to try to get this as center as possible. My score tape on my flap here, and I am going to put this right on the end here, because again it's going to be covered up. You can put it on either side. You can put it on this side if you want, or you could put it on the other side. I'm going to put it on the inside so it doesn't add any more height to my page. And there you go. Now just remember that this will be a magnet, so if you have to, write yourself a sticky note and say magnet closure. Probably in more legible writing. And I'm going to tape this across both so it holds it closed. So this page needs something on the back here, and we'll work on that in a second. So this one has not very much going on at all. So what we can do with this is we can put a belly band on one of these pages, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put a belly band right here in the middle here. All right, so this album doesn't look like a whole lot of much right now because there is just not a lot going on. It's just a lot of black right now. So to make the pockets, hello, we are going to take the same piece of paper here and measure. Remember, our base page is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So the height will depend on you. It will completely depend on you. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this out to be 5 1/4. I'm going to measure the other side because this one's already scored for me. Now I want to score this at 1/2 inch on the bottom and 1/2 inch on the other side that's not already scored. And if you didn't already cut a lot of these like I did, then just cut some to accommodate what you're doing. Okay, so this is a really tall pocket and I don't want it to be that tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, this, we can make this about a 3-inch pocket. So you can definitely make these however tall and or short you'd like. So what you're going to do, the easiest way I've found to do this is take your scissors straight across that center piece of the X, and it's only for pockets. If you're making things like a wraparound for your covers, don't go straight across the intersection. I'll explain that later in another video. But for these, just go straight across that intersection. Okay, we're gonna fold every one of these up like this, and we are going to tape everything down. So find your first item that you want to put your pocket on. Line up your bottom to your bottom of your base page. So make sure everything is facing the right direction, because once you put these pockets on, there's no swapping the directions around, because a pocket sitting like this with the closure here, your stuff's going to fall out. So just make sure everything is facing the direction that you want it to be facing. Okay, so line up your pocket. And just continue to put your pockets wherever it is that you want to put your pockets. So I'm going to finish doing that, and I have 4 more pockets that I can use. I may not, but I'm going to finish doing that, and I will come back to you guys before I close out the video. Okay, so it is an hour and 9 minutes since I first started cutting and gluing and whatnot. So I think I have all of my pages laid out the way that I want them to be laid out. I keep going back and forth with this page because this is the page that I kind of accidentally sealed the edge. But honestly, it's okay. I just need to figure out. I really like the fact that these two pockets here are asymmetrical. They're not straight across. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. Also, too, I went back with my main dimensions and just created an extra side pocket here. So I didn't go over that in the rest of the tutorial, but again, it's just a matter of adding a 1/2 inch per flap. So you have this flap here, then you have this flap here. Remember, our base page is 6 1/4 tall. So you wanted to make sure that it was 7 1/4 when you cut it, so you had enough space to score for your flaps. As far as this size, I just put this on my cutting mat and just tried to figure out how wide I wanted this pocket and cut it down to size. So let's flip through it real quick. So we have page 1. Also, too, I've tried to line everything up the way that I want it to sit in my book. So we have page 1. We have a belly band here. Open it up. We have a pocket, and another pocket. Then we have a magnet closure here. We have a waterfall type flip here. And then we have some mats to go there, and we're just going to save that. And then we're going to flip it. And with this one, I took one of the pockets that I had made, and I basically cut them in half, and then I cut the very top triangle off to make that triangle. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I had to snip the sides here in order for the flaps not to poke through. This is our flip-flop thing that I made here. There's a pocket here, a belly band here, and then we flip it over, and then there's a belly band here. This is another magnetic closure. Well, it will be. And I added an extra page, if you will. It's my little booklet that I created. So I have like the small page here, the medium, and then the large. Open this up, and I'm completely forgot about this. I'm gonna have to do something with this. I will probably add like a pocket or a belly band or something, but I do need to leave it kind of plain because I have 3 flaps right here. But I do need to do something with this, and I completely forgot about it. Mainly because this has been closed the whole time. And then go over here, and there's a pocket. So the next time you guys see me, we will be cutting the mats down to size. A lot of these mats we'll be able to use as is, but some of them we will have to cut down to size. Like for this right here, this is not a full size mat. You're gonna have to cut that down to size. So the next time you guys see me, we will be cutting our mats down to size and matting this bad boy. So by the time it's done with that third video, we will have all of our pages put together and matted. Okay? So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time. Bye guys.